T-Style pickups. I don't have an endorsement with Joe Barden. I just bought these pickups because I really like Danny Gatton's guitar playing. He was a big inspiration to me growing up. And I always wanted a pair, so I just bought them. I'd never heard them in real life other than on, Gatton's recordings. And so I just rode away and ordered a pair. They're not cheap. They're about 450 US, I think, or thereabouts. And so I figured there might be some people out there who've seen these pickups on the internet, because I know Bruce Springsteen uses them now and a couple other big artists are starting to use them. But it's a lot of money, so you might want to get someone's opinion about how they sound, how they feel, how they react in different sort of tone settings before you take the plunge and spend your hard-earned money. For me, my honest opinion is these are the best Telecaster pickups I've ever used. I mean, I love Telecasters. I've always been a Telecaster guy, and I love the classic sound of a Telecaster. But I found a lot of sort of standard Tele pickups that I played, not vintage ones. This is sort of ones that are in my price range that I could afford to buy or play as a kid. They sounded like a Telecaster, but there was a thinness to the tone, particularly when you go to the back pickup, that you had to do a bit to compensate. You had to crank the bass on the amp. You had to use compression or a bit of overdrive. And I've always loved just that honest sound of putting a Fender straight into a Fender and just hearing how it's going to sound, or straight into any amplifier, really. And what I like about these pickups is there's this extra beef that they have, because they are hot rail pickups. They're very hot. They're also completely noiseless. And you don't have to do any of that extra compensation. You can if you like, if that's your tone, then that's cool, but it's not necessary to do that. They just have a big sound as it is. And I think that really just came from probably Danny Gatton, because he worked with Joe Barden for a couple of years on these pickups. And I imagine he probably just said, well, this is the sound that I'm hearing, and this is all of the things I don't like about standard pickups. How about we come up with something that is perfect to him? And it's perfect to me as well. So I'm just going to play a little bit with different pickup combinations so you can hear how it sounds. They respond really well to just a pick if you're going to do some picking stuff. To finger picking, they're really good. And of course chicken picking, which is what I did before. I chicken pick with the flesh on my fingers, so that does give a little bit more warmth and beef rather than just using nails or acrylic nails. But these pickups really respond well to the spank of chicken picking. If you put both pickups on with a clean tone, it sounds great for funk. It's got that mellow, telly, 70s funky sound. It's also really good for rock and roll music. There is a roundness and a MIDI sweetness to the tone that you can get if you're doing, let's say, when you go to the neck pickup, it's just that warm, beefy, telly tone that we know and love. Great for blues. say jazz, you can get pretty close to, you know, a round wound string Gibson archtop sound. Overdrive and see how it responds. So I'm going through a Roland Cube amplifier here. It's nothing flash. I have one sort of degree. They don't have number readings, but I have 1 degree of reverb on. And I've just gone on to the black panel setting for overdrive. I've got my overdrive set at 12 o'clock and my volume just bang at 9 o'clock. So let's start with the neck pickup again. I find there's just that extra sweetness and brightness. It starts to get a little bit of a dark character the more overdrive you put on. It can sound a little bit Clapton-y, like the woman tone. So this isn't. It's quite bright at the moment. Pickup. It sounds like rock and roll. Biting Telecaster. So now I'm going to go and I'm not going to change any of my amp settings other than the overdrive. I'm going to put it on full so we get a little bit of a rock and roll sound. So we'll stay on the bridge pickup. Speaks for itself. You know, I spend a lot of time, if I ever have to play anything that's more rock, heavy blues, that's usually the pickup I'm on most of the time. This is the one that I find with a lot of gain, the two pickups tend to take on a slightly dark character, a bit like the Gibson tone that Clapton was using in the mid to late 60s, which, you know, for me, that's ultimate Clapton. Stuff like and then if we go to the neck pickup, it's just warm. In some ways it kind of sounds a bit like a Les Paul. has helped. If you're curious about these pickups or you've been thinking for a while, I might want to buy a set, but they're quite expensive. I love them. I think it was a really good modification that I made to my Telecaster, and I just think it makes that tone better. It's the ultimate Teletone as far as I'm concerned. So please share this video if you think anyone else might be interested in these pickups. Give us a follow on YouTube, on Instagram. I'm the Rev Dr. Z. I'm also on Facebook, and I'm going to be starting a guitar podcast pretty soon. We're going to be talking about this stuff and just playing in general with a good friend of mine, Josh Meter. So yeah, thank you for the time, and I'll see you next time. We'll talk about some more guitar stuff.